In this video, we are going to create a blog using Next.js and Hashnode. So Hashnode is a developer blogging platform where developers can share their experiences, their knowledge with other developers in the form of blogs and articles. So Hashnode recently announced Hashnode Headless, where you can use your own frontend and Hashnode will provide you with all the blog data, with all the contents of your article and everything else. So it's very good for people who do not want to maintain their own blogging system and still want to have their own front end. So in this video, we are going to take advantage of that and we are going to build this. As you can see on your screen, this is a blog application. There are a lot of different things here. You can select from dark mode and light mode. So I can just go to light, dark, or even I can select system, which is dark currently. Then you can scroll down and you will see this little, actually large load more button. If you click this, it will show you the rest of the blog posts. So if you have like 1,000 blog posts, it's going to show only 9 after you click on load more. That way your page loads faster, and if your user wants to see your older posters, they can also do that. So this is what we are going to build. Also, there's one cool feature. If we reload the page and wait for 5 seconds, you should see a newsletter pop up. So let's wait and we should have it. Perfect. So this is the pop-up we are going to have. So Hashnode also has this newsletter feature where you can just provide them with the email of the user, and once they confirm their subscription, any new post you post in your blog will automatically send to their inbox. So we have just used the API, and if the user puts in their email, they will be subscribed to our newsletter. So that's what's happening here. And once they subscribe, they won't see this model anymore. So yeah, this is not spamming. So if we close and if we go to one of the posts, so one of my very recent posts, I also have a video on it. So if you want, I think it should be in the card. So this is the blog post itself. We have done some basic stylings. It's really not a lot of good stylings. If you want, you can do that, but I just wanted to create a very basic blog app using Hashnode and Next.js. It's not very basic though. You can do a lot of different things here, like infinite scrolling is something that a lot of tutorials don't add in their builds, but I decided that this is a very important aspect of web development, so I decided to add this. So yeah, let's get started with the building. So first we are going to create a Next.js application because we are using Next.js actually React server components, so we are going to do that. So pnpx create next app, and I'm going to call this Hashnode blog YT actually. Yeah. So let's wait for this, and yeah, it's very instant. So you can fill out this. So for this build, we are going to have TypeScript. We are going to have ESLint. We are also going to have tailwinds for styling. We are going to have the SRC directory, app router yes. Basically every default setting. That's what we are going to do. So if the defaults have changed by the time you're watching this video, you might want to rewind and see what we have used. Perfect. Now we can go to Hashnode blog YT, and now what we are going to do is we are going to use shadcn-ui. So let's do pnpx shadcn-ui at latest init. So if you already don't know what shadcn-ui is, it provides you with individual components you can use in your app. It literally copy pastes the component inside your project directory, so you don't need to use any different component library as such. And if you want to learn more about shadcn, I have a video about it. I think it should be in the card somewhere, so or in the description. So this also has a wizard. So would you like to use TypeScript? Yes. We would use New York style. If you want to use default, that's fine too. It's just like the font sizes are different. And for the color, we are just going to use slate. And for the globals.css file, because we are using the src directory, we need to input it ourselves. So src/app/globals.css. We will use CSS variable because we are going to change the theme of our application. We don't need any custom tailwind prefix. For tailwind.config.js, since we are using TypeScript Next.js application, we are going to use tailwind.config.ts. Because in TypeScript, this file has the TS extension. So yeah, we will leave everything default. we are using React Server components. If you are using pages directory, make sure you select no, but we are going to use app directory because it's the latest. So I'm going to select yes. Write configuration to components.json, yes. Now it will install dependencies. It's built upon Radix UI, but you have the choice to copy the components you want. So we are going to do that pretty soon. So yeah, let's do code dot and let's open Visual Studio Code. Perfect. Let's get this to full screen. And now what we have here is a component.json file, and shadcn created this for us. And we also should have a components folder here. And if we add any component, like we know for sure that we need a button component. So let's do that right now. So pnpx shadcn-ui latest add button. Now this will add the button component inside our project directory. The first thing we are going to build is the navbar, so that's why we need it. So I just wanted to show you how this works. So this has the UI folder and it has the button component. We won't really change this. So if you want to customize it, feel free to do so, but we are not going to do this in this video. We are just going to use the default stylings. So yeah, let's move on. Next, we are going to set up environment variables, but we are going to take it one bit further. Because we are using TypeScript, let's take the advantage of TypeScript and use a library that allows us to enforce that environment variables are used. So if anyone misses any environment variable, we will be alerted and the build will fail basically. So let's go and let's open a new tab here. We are going to type out T3 OSS env Next.js. Yeah, so this is the package we are going to use. So let's wait for this to load. For whatever reason, it's taking too long. Yep, it says it doesn't have a readme, but you can first of all, we are just going to copy the package name. We are going to not add a readme actually. We are going to go to the GitHub for this. And here we can see all the instructions. Because there are two packages, that's why there weren't a readme for one. I'm not sure why it was like that. But we need to first install this package. So let's go into the terminal and let's do pnpm install and let's have the package here. I'm using pnpm because it is super fast. So if you are using any other package manager, make sure you follow their commands of installing the package. So yeah, we have installed the package. Now the instruction here is that we need to define a schema. So let's copy this and we are going to create a new file here in a lib in lib library and we're just going to call it tnv.ts and let's paste this. Now what's happening here is we are specifying the environment variables for the server and the client, and we're just going to dump all of those here. So we are not going to use any server side environment variables. We are not going to have variables that will only be used by servers. So we are just going to leave this empty and we are going to make our environment variables here. So the first one we need is next public. Next public is very necessary because by default, if you don't add next public, it is going to be a server variable no matter if you include it here or not. So next public hashnode endpoint, and we also need Zord, right? I think, is it installed? No, I don't think so. We should install it. So let's do pnpm install Zord. And once it's done, we also want to do pnpm dev. Let's open a new terminal tab and let's get back to coding. We are doing this because if we want to install anything or interact with shadcn, we can do that here. So now the rules for this are that the endpoint should be a URL. So z.string .url. We are just enforced the rules. So if you want a video on Zord, I'm going to create it next week. So stay tuned. Now, the next environment variable we need is the publication ID for Hashnode. So there are no API keys or anything like that. The read API is completely without API key. We are not going to do any write operations, so we do not need an API key here. So next public Hashnode publication ID. and the only requirement for this is that it's required. So how do we enforce it? We'd say g.string dot minimum 1, so dot min 1, so it should have one character. If there is no character, that means that environment variables is invalid. Now what we have to do is we need to just copy paste this here and make some changes. Here we are mapping the actual variables to the corresponding environment variables. So we are just going to copy this name and we are just going to do process.env dot, and we're just going to paste this. Let's just copy this. We are going to process.env dot paste. Perfect. Now we need to actually create this environment variable. So let's do that. We are going to create a new file. We are going to call it .env.local. We are going to paste both of these. So yeah, not username. I don't know why my clipboard wasn't working, but publication ID. Now for the endpoint, this is not api.hashnode.com. Sometimes Copilot is just dumb, but if we go to the docs for this, so if we go Hashnode Headless docs, we should be able to see the URL. So let's do explore API. Actually not, let's go down somewhere. We should be able to see how to get started. Get started, API docs. There should be an URL somewhere. This is interesting. If somebody from Hashnode, oh yeah, this is the URL. But I think if somebody from Hashnode is watching the video, I think they should make it more clearer. So yeah, gql.hashnode.com. So let's go back to VS Code and just paste this here. For the publication ID, what you want to do is you need to go to your Hashnode dashboard. So we are going to do hashnode.com and we will go to the dashboard. This is a very tricky way, but we will do it anyways. So for my personal blogs, I want to go to the dashboard. Once we are in the dashboard, let's inspect the URL, and this string right here is our publication ID. So we are just going to copy this and let's go back here and paste it here. Perfect. Now all the environment variables are set. Everything will work just fine. And I think our development server is also working. Perfect. Now we can just proceed with doing something. Yeah. Okay, before jumping into all of the action, there is one more configuration we need to do, is adding light mode and dark mode. I do this before doing anything else because it's a very simple task and I think it should be done before. So let's go to shadcn-ui, ui.shadcn.com, and there should be a guide here to help us do that. So if we go ahead and to the dark mode, Next.js, we are going to install this package. So I'm just going to copy this command for pnpm. Let's go to terminal, not here actually, here, and then we are going to create a new theme provider.tsx file. So let's go here inside components. We are going to create a new file, theme provider tsx. Let's paste this. This is a client component, so that's why they needed to create a new file. And now they are just passing it into the layout.tsx file. But I want to do it in a little different way because we are going to have multiple providers, and I think it's a good idea to have a new providers file here. So providers.tsx. Let's do RFC. Let's remove the React import because it's not needed anymore. So yeah, and now here we are going to paste this. Perfect. We need to import theme provider from where? Actually, yeah, it's fine. So and what we need to do is we need to pass in the children. So we could simply do children like here, but since we are using TypeScript, we also need to have it here. Since we are using TypeScript, it will not let us do that because it says that it implicitly has an any type. So we need to have props for this. For that, we can simply do children is react.react node, and that will fix that. Perfect. And we are done with the theme provider. And is there any more step here? Other step? Yeah. Then it's just placing the button, which we will do in the navbar. So let's get started with the navbar. Okay, so let's go to app and let's go to the page.tsx and let's clear everything that Next.js gives us. We're just going to start with a main tag, not anything else. Perfect. By the way, we need to have those providers here. I just forgot about this, so let's cut the children and that sounds so bad. So let's import providers and let's paste the children here, and now everything should work. Now let's go and oh, hold on. Yeah, we have finished with this, and now we can create a new folder, new file here called navbar.tsx, and we can start creating the navbar. So first of all, what I want to do is, if you saw the build in the demo, there was a GitHub link which was linking to the GitHub repository associated with this video. So if you were stuck, you can simply go to the GitHub repository and check out the code. So we are going to paste the GitHub repository, so that because we are going to link it. So this is the GitHub repository, and we can get started. So first of all, what we are going to do is the navbar will be width full, and then we are going to have another div which will be width of 7xl. Why width of 7xl? Because no, we don't need all this code, because if you have imagine a monitor which is super ultra wide. You don't want your content to be on your left and right sides, and middle should be empty. It should not be like that. Your content should be on the middle, and if you have a width of 7xl or even 6 or 8xl, you know exactly how your content will be displayed on every device. You can control the responsiveness for smaller device, and you can also control how it looks for bigger devices. So that's the advantage. So I'll show that in action right now. So the first bar will be full because we are going to have a border. So let's do div class name w full border b and mb5, because we need some space between the navbar and the content. So that's why. Now we are going to do that thing. So div class name max width 7xl, and we need w full, and let's handle responsiveness right now. So we also need px3 in case of mobile, and if that it's not a mobile, then we are just going to do xl p0, and then we're going to do m/5 so that there is some spacing in between the thing in the navbar, because we are using a parent. So we can simply do m/5, or you would do padding. So we are also going to do mx auto to align everything on center and not everything on left. Then to space everything, we are going to do flex justify between item center. Yeah, basically everything that Copilot suggested. Thank you so much, Copilot. You are useful for once. Now we also need to close the div, so let's do that. Perfect. Let's save this file. Let's go here, open it up, and now we are going to first have the title of the block. So we are going to say div class name textxl, and we are going to have the font bold. Perfect. And we are going to have the name here. So I'm just going to say a cool block for now. We are going to fetch the name later, but let's get the navbar first. So we are also going to have this a link which will redirect us back to the home page. So we are going to import link from Next.js, link ref this, and we're just going to like this. Perfect. And the next thing we need is the GitHub link and the theme toggler. So for the theme toggler, I'm going to create a new component. We are going to work on it later, but I'm going to create a theme toggler .tsx, and we're just going to use RFC and leave it like that. We're just going to rename it theme toggler. Perfect, if I can type. And now what we need is we need a div. So div class name flex item center. We don't need everything else, so I'm just going to type item center, and we need a gap of 5. We're using flex because I just like using the gap property, because you don't need to handle all that margin stuff yourself, and it will simply have a gap in between. I just like Tailwind because of that. We're just going to have the theme toggler here. It will not be visible just yet, but we are going to work on it. So theme toggler, and then we are going to have the button. So first of all, we are going to have a link which goes to it goes to the GitHub URL. It should be in the new tab, so we are just going to have the target blank. And I think and now we can simply have the button. So we had installed a button from shadcn-ui, so let's do that. First of all, we also need the icon. So Radix also automatically installs an icon. Shadcn also installs Radix UI icons, so that you don't need any other icon library. So this is the import for that. You can simply copy paste. You don't need to install any dependencies. It's already installed with Shadcn. Perfect. If you want, you can opt out from all of this and you can simply copy paste components from Shadcn website. It's fine. But we need the icon here, so that's why we are going to do this. So GitHub logo icon, and we are going to have the text of GitHub here. Let's save this. Now we can go back and localhost. I think this should run. Okay, we haven't placed the navbar here, so let's go to layout.tsx and let's have the navbar before children. Navbar, because we want the navbar basically to be displayed on every single page. Yep. Now this is broken, and I know why it's broken. So we gotta go here, and we haven't created the button yet, so we need to create that. So let's create a button variant secondary, and we are just going to cut this and just paste this here. Let's check. Yeah, now there is this problem. We need to have a class name to this link, and we are just going to align everything. So we are going to say flex item center gap 2. Let's save. Let's go back. Yeah, it is fine. We need to fix the theme toggler, so we are going to do that. Yeah, this should be item center. I was just wondering why was it so misaligned. Yeah, perfect. Now let's go to the theme toggler itself. For this, we need to install a new shadcn component, which is drop down menu. So let's go to our terminal and let's do pnbx shadcn-ui latest add drop down menu. I hope this was the correct name, but let's see if it gets downloaded. It's fine. So installing drop down menu. Let's wait. Testing my patience. The internet is testing my patience. Okay, it's done. Now what we can do, that this is going to be a simple drop down menu. So we don't need any divs. We just need drop down menu. And make sure that you don't import from Radix UI. You want to import from your own project. So yep. And now here, first thing you need is a drop down trigger. So drop down menu trigger. So this will be a button which will actually open the drop down menu. So you don't need to use any additional states or anything. So we are going to have a class name of outline none, because if you click it, it acts like a button and it has a weird outline around it. So we are just going to use outline none. And here we are going to have the light and dark thing. So first we are just going to leave it to theme right now. We are just going to have the icons later. So what we are going to have here is first of all, we need to use a hook. So let's do const set theme. It's a function which we need from use theme hook, which is from next themes. And now what we can have is a drop down menu content. It would be something like this. We need to import all of this. Yeah, so drop down menu content will have 3 drop down menu items, which will have an on click of set theme, and we can simply pass in light, dark, and system. So let's save this. Let's go back here. If we click on theme, and it's not. Oh yeah. Now if you get this error, don't freak out. It's the error which says that this is a server component which uses hook. So this should be a client component, because we are having interactivity. The entire reason we have this in a separate component is because this should be a client component and the navbar doesn't need to be an entire client component. So that's why. Now it's automatically picking up system. If we go to light, it should change the theme. Perfect. We are going to leave it to system because I like dark mode. And now we need to change the icons, so let's do that. So to get the current theme, we are just going to do resolve theme. So what resolve theme does is that it gives you the current theme. So even if it's system, it will return the current theme, which is light or dark. So what we can do is we need icons. So I'm going to import these icons from radix icons. So paste. Perfect. Sun icon and moon icon. Now what we are going to do is resolve theme. Resolve theme is equal to light. If it's light, we want to show the sun icon, or we want to show the moon icon. Yeah, perfect. Now if we go back, yeah, it's working. Now what we want to do before doing anything else, we want to create functions which allows us to get some data. So we are going to create a function that allows us to get the blog name, and we are going to create a function that gives us the data for all the posts which are going to be displayed here. So let's work on all thing requests now. Okay, so now the thing with requests is that Hashnode uses GraphQL API. So if you don't know already, I have already created a video on interacting with GraphQL APIs inside React. So it's actually the previous video. I will have it in the description. So we just go to the API playground and we can actually test out every single thing here. So what we can do is we can check out different things. So what we need is a name of the publication. We need the title, and we also need the favicon. So what we can do is we can simply initiate a query, and we can just say publication. We need to pass in the ID. So let's pass in the ID from the environment variable. So let's go to env.local. Let's copy this publication ID, paste this. Now what we can get data from here. So we can simply say we want title, we want the display title, and we want the favicon. So I think it's not documented well, but I think the data, yeah, so title is used as logo if logo is not provided. I think this is the logo and this is supposed to be title, but if there is no logo, then the title is title. I know it's confusing for me even now. I think this is something they should be improving on. So yeah, I might be completely wrong here, but I think it's confusing. So I have imported all of these three things, and in our first function, which is going to be the get blog name, we are going to use this query. So I'm just going to copy this query, and let's go ahead and create a new file here called requests.ts. But before we can make any GraphQL request, we need to install it. So let's do pnpm install. Let me make sure it's the correct package name. Actually, yeah, GraphQL request. So this is the correct package name. So let's wait for this to install. Perfect. Now we can get started. First of all, we need two things from the environment variables already. So we are going to import it before doing anything. So constant point is equal to env dot hashnode. We need to import env from our file. So env dot next public hashnode point. And I like this about this package, that you get all the predictions and stuff in VS Code, because in normal environment variable thing you do not get it, and I just hate it, but I just like it here. And you also get the type, so it's always good. And we also need the publication ID. So const publication ID env dot next public publication ID. Perfect. Now we are going to create a new function. So export async function get blog name, and we are going to create a query. So const query, we are going to use GQL for query. I also already have a video on it, so you can already check it out. So we're also going to paste the query, Now the thing we are going to do here is we are going to use variables, because this is not constant. We are not going to hard code this, so that now we are going to use variables. So we are going to need to name this query. So I'm just going to use the function name. So get blog name, and the variable will be publication ID, which is going to be the type of object ID, and it's required. So I can simply replace this with the publication ID. Perfect. And what I want to do here is after this query, we can simply make the request const response is equal to await request. We should make sure that we are importing it from the proper thing. So we are importing it from GraphQL request. The first thing we pass is the endpoint. The second thing we passed is the query, and the third thing is the variable. So it should be an object with the key value pair. So for us it's the publication ID, so we can simply leave it like this, because publication ID colon publication ID is simply publication ID. You don't need to provide colon here because we have the same names. So yeah, that's it. And we can simply do return and stuff. The problem here is that if we do something like title response dot, and you are completely blank, you don't know what you are getting back. So you need to create TypeScript types for this. If we go back and run this query, we will get this specific data of how this data is being working. So for my blog, I don't have a logo, so I only have a title, and display title is null. I don't even have a favicon. So yeah, so what GraphQL request does is it gives you this object, not the data. It gives you this object. So we need to create TypeScript types so that in the code itself we know actually what we are getting back, and we are not actually mentioning the wrong things which will cause errors. So let's create a new type here. So I'm going to in the lib in the lib folder, we are going to create a new file types.d.ts, and I'm not going to use a lot of time in types. I think it's going to take a lot of time, so I'm just going to paste all the types of the app in one go, because this is not a TypeScript tutorial. If you want these types, I mean, you will need these types. You need to get this from the GitHub repository, which is linked in the description below. Get these types. We are not going to work on it again, but the type which we have created here is the publication name, which is not the proper name because I decided to add the favicon later, but the publication name is the name of this type, which has the title, display title, and favicon. Now we can mention to GraphQL request that So we can mention that it's going to be having a publication name type. So the response will have a publication name type, and now we will have all the specific types. So response.publication.title. Same for display title. I can't type. Response.publication.display title. We are also going to pass in the favicon. So favicon response.publication.favicon. Perfect. And now what we can do is we can go to navbar and we can have the names here. So now since this is an server component, we can simply have this as an async function and do the fetching right here without any hooks, because let's be honest, in server side components you cannot use hooks. So this is the only way we can do it in server side components, or you can create this as a client component and do it, but I think this is a more efficient way. You want to decrease the requests made on your client side by a lot, as long as as much as possible. So this is the way we are going to do. So const title is equal to await get blog name, and now we will have everything here inside this. We are also going to use React query in this tutorial, but for such simple queries, and also this is not a client component, so we are not going to use React query for this one. So here we are going to have how are we dealing with the situation of two titles. So I'm just going to do title.display title, and if it's null, we are simply going to have title.title. I'm not going to have the logo here because I'm going to be completely honest, I don't have a logo in my blog. So if you have and you're watching, you want to contribute to this tutorial, simply open a pull request to the GitHub repository and I'll make sure to look at it. So yeah, this is basically our entire navbar. We don't need to do anything else. Let's save this and let's go back to our localhost 3000 and see if the name has changed or not. Perfect. Now there is two more problems, is that this is a create next app and we also need the favicon. So let's change this real quick. It's very easy to change it. So we are going to go to our layout.tsx file and here we are going to remove this. Either you can export a metadata variable or you can have a function. So I'm going to export async function generate metadata, and I'm going to do const data is equal to await get blog name, not get blog name, and I'm simply going to return it. So whatever the title here is, it will be the title of the browser page. So we are going to return that. And inside also this, we are also going to do the same inside the component. So this is a server component, so we can simply add async, and we can also have this here. And let's have a head tag here, and we can have a favicon here. So I'm going to copy the code and paste it here. So it will be link rel icon, and if the favicon is not available, we are going to use the default one used by Next.js. Again, you can change the default one also, but I'm not going to do that right now. So yeah, I'm giving you a lot of opportunities to make open source contribution. Just go out there, fetch Hashnode's logo, replace it, and make a pull request, and I'll approve it. So yeah, this is everything done. If we refresh the page, we should be able to see Atharva Devasthale, which is the name of my blog. Now let's create the request. Actually, you know what? Let's first create an infinite query. Let's see what infinite queries are, and we are going to install React Query. Okay, so let's install React Query first. So we're going to do add pnpm install add 10 stack / React Query. Let's hit enter. Let's wait for this to finish. Perfect. And now we can start working with React Query. So the thing with React Query is that you need to have functions which return data. Just like we in request.ts, we have this function. This is completely compatible with React Query. So we just need to have functions like these. So what we want to do is what infinite query is the infinite scrolling you saw. And for React Query, if I expect you to know something about React Query. So if you haven't already used it, I really recommend you to see my video and come back to this time and continue from here, because this is going to be a lot confusing if you don't already know React Query. So the thing with infinite query is that they already give you the parameter with the page number. So infinite queries, what happens is when you click on load more, it loads another page of data. So after you click load more once, now you have 2 pages of data. So it gives you the page number and you deal with it and find the next data and return it to React Query. So how do we do it? It's very confusing and I'm here to help you out. So what we want to do is okay, so I want to show you this query first. I'm going to go, okay, hold on, I messed it up. See, let's go to our Hashnode playground. Where is it? Yeah, I'm going to paste this query. I'm going to remove all of this and query everything. Is anything wrong? Oh yeah, we need to have a publication ID. So I'm just going to have clipboard. Let's have the publication ID here. The first will be, we need to have every page should have a 9 posts. So this is what first means. So we are going to put 9 here, and after should be a cursor. So every post has a cursor. If you mention that cursor here, so 9 posts after the cursor post will be shown. So if you don't have an after, it will show you 9 posts after nothing. So first 9 posts. So latest 9 posts. So if you send this query, We are going to get publication, posts, and edges is going to be an array with individual posts inside a node object. So this is very confusing. This is how GraphQL works though. And yeah, this is what we are going to get: ID, title, subtitles, slug. Sorry, we don't need docs. So slug, we are going to get the content text because we need to show something in the card. We are also going to get the cover image URL, author name, profile picture, and the cursor because we also need to deal with the next page. So this is the query which we are going to use. I already have that query, so I'm going to copy paste it here. So first of all, we are going to create a new function here. So let's do that. So export async function get posts. Now this is going to be a special function because of infinite queries. So what's happening here is that React query is going to pass in a page param, which is going to be the cursor. So let's first have the first, which we can pass ourselves. So first is equal to 9, and the second which we are going to have is the page param, and the default is going to be nothing, so that we get the latest 5, and the type of this object is going to be get post tags. Perfect. Now the first you can hard code it. I decided to use 9 posts for every single page. You can change it always. And what React query will do after every page, it's going to give us the cursor of the last post of the last page. So that's how it works. And we are going to configure everything inside the component. So let's wait. I'm just going to paste the query here. So this is the query. We are using variables, and we are just putting in the variables. Now we are going to make the request. So let me make that request right now. We need to import the type. We are just going to mention that this is the type we are going to have the response, and we are returning the actual array which has the posts, and we are not going to return everything else. So if we check the response, we are getting a lot of things like the publication, posts, and edges. We just want to have this array like from this onwards. So I'm just going to return this, and yeah, this is done. Now what we need to do is we need to go to page.tsx, and now since React query only has the glory days and hooks, we cannot use hooks in server-side components, and it defeats the purpose of app directory, because app directory's main purpose is that you get data from the server, and like you do not request data from the client side but on the server side, and make your page load faster. So how do we do that in this case? Because we cannot use hooks in a server component. So what we can do is we can enclose this inside a we can create a new client component, and we can enclose inside this. So we are going to also use this for prefetching, and this file is going to be used for prefetching. Although we are going to do that later, it's going to be super easy, but let's do the dynamic fetching right now. So we are going to have the main, and we are going to have a class name of the 7XL thing. So I'm just going to copy the class name and paste it here. So it's going to be a fixed width on larger devices. And now we are going to have a grid. So div class name grid calls 1 for mobile devices. Remember, Tailwind is a mobile first CSS thing, so we need to make for mobile first. So for large, we need to have grid call 3, and yeah, we need to have gap of 5 and margin top of 5. Perfect. And now we have the client component here. So let's create the client component. We're going to create new file here, posts.ts. We are actually tsx. Let's have RFC. Oops, yeah. Let's remove this and have use client here. To mention that this is a client component, let's have this like this, and we're going to just pass in the posts here. Later we are going to have something more to prefetch the infinite query, but right now let's just have it like this. Right now it's just going to dynamically fetch on the client side, but we are going to fix that later. So let's go back to the posts.tsx file. Let me get that file here as well. And now what we are going to do is we need to get the data. So how do we do that using React query? Now that we can use hooks, we can simply do const let's destructure an object, and now we can do use infinite query. For normal query you can do use query, but since this is an infinite query, we are going to do infinite query. And this is going to be an object. Don't trust Copilot on this one. This has recently updated, and I won't trust Copilot for this package anymore. So yeah, query key should be an array, and I'm just going to pass in posts here. Perfect. And the next thing we need is the query function. So query function should be the function itself. So get posts, we are just going to pass in the function. And the next two parameters are very important. It's the get next page param. What this function is doing, it's letting you to get the next page, like getting the cursor for the next pages. So okay, so what the calculations you do here, and whatever you return to this goes down to the request.ts file inside the page param. So what we want to ideally do is pass in the cursor of the last post of the last page, and it will fetch all the posts later. So we need to have the cursor of the last post of the last page here. So how do we do that? So it provides us with the last page, and we can do our own thing and figure out rest of the stuff. So how do we do that? So if there are two things, if how do we know that if all the pages are done? If we return undefined, that means it won't load any more pages. That means it will say that every page has been loaded. So yeah, so that's the indicator. If we return undefined, that means there's no more page to load. So we are going to first change. So last page dot length. So if it's smaller than 9, so imagine if there are less than 9, that means that there are no more posts, right? So if there are like 5 in a page, that means that there are no more pages inside. So yeah, that's how we determine this. So in that case, we are going to return undefined. But if it's not the case, we want to return the cursor of the last post. So we are going to have the last page, and we are going to target the last post. So last page dot length -1, and we're just going to access the cursor here, which the Hashnode API provides us with. Let's save this for now, and it's still crying because we need to pass in the initial cursor, and in our case the initial cursor is empty, and so that we get all the posts. So initial page param should be empty. This way we will get the first set of all stuff. So now we can use the beauty. Now that we have went past the rough code of React query, we can get all the beauty stuff. So like the data, we can get has next page, which tells us if there is a next page or not. We can get a function like fetch next page, and we can also get data if it's fetching the next page. It's fetching. Perfect. And now we can use this data. And what we can do is now what React query does is for data, there are different pages. So like it does not give you all the data inside one data. So there are going to be multiple pages inside the data, and you need to map through all those pages. So there are going to be group mapping here. So let's do data dot pages dot map. You know what, we don't need to have div. Just let's have a fragment here, and this is going to give us a group. This is a one group, and now we can take action on this group, and this group is going to have different blog posts. So we can simply do group dot map now we are going to get the post finally, and now we are supposed to return a block card. So let's create this component first, and we are going to configure it later. So I'm just going to call it block card.tsx rfc. This can be a server component, I think. Let's just leave it for now. So I'm just going to rename the component first. Let's save this. Let's go back here, and let's return the block card. We are just going to just like that. Post is something wrong. Oh yeah, because we aren't providing any params like any props, but we will do that. We can simply ignore those right now and we can move forward. Let's have the button now which does everything. So what we are going to do is I'm just going to copy the code. Since we are inside a grid right now, remember that we were inside a grid. So if we go back to the page.tsx file, we are inside a grid which is like 3 columns. So for the load more button, remember in the build we had a wide load more button. So we are just going to use this code. So we are just going to use the shadcn button component, and for mobile devices it's going to be just 1 column, but for larger devices it's going to be 3 columns. So we are just setting the call span so that we are going to occupy the maximum columns, and we are just going to have a button which when clicked is going to use the fetch next page function. Then React query will do its magic and get the next pages, and if there is no page it will be disabled, and if it's fetching it's going to be disabled. And we are also having all the text here which says loading, load more, and all. That's all for today, which checks the conditions. It uses nested ternaries. I am sorry Theo, but I had to do it. So yeah, by the way, if you don't know, Theo is very against nested ternaries and many people in the community don't like it. So yeah, now we need to configure block card. So let's go to block card and we should configure it. But if we go back here in the application, I think we should see something. So oh yeah, we need to set a query provider. Oopsie. Let's go to providers.tsx. We to use React query we need to set a query provider. So here we are going to do const query provider. We are going to create a new state is equal to let me pull the code here. Perfect. So use state, and this function is we are going to have a new query provider. Since what's the deal with this? Oh yeah, it's query client provider, query provider. Anyways, I don't know what's happening, because I don't think it's a component. I don't know what's happening with the autocomplete, but I think we should get the query client here. Yeah, query client. Now we need the new query client. Perfect. And we are using a function here because we are using a constructor, and we need to return this query client, and we are going to create a query provider. Actually, this is going to be a query client. I'm so sorry. And now what we are going to do is we are going to create a new query client provider, and we now need that component. We are going to pass in the client, and we are going to end the query client provider. Perfect. And I think now we can work with stuff. Oh yeah, this should be, my bad, this should be a client component. We made this file to be a client component, and we forgot to add the use client directive. I think it's fixed, right? Yep. We can see the load more if we click, and we just see block card. That's because we haven't rendered the data, but it just means that we have the data. It's just we need to just spit it out. So it's working. Infinite scrolling is working. Now we can work on the block card itself. Okay, for block card, we are going to use a new shadcn component called as card. So let's install it. So we are going to do pnpx shadcn add card. Let's wait for it to finish. It should not take a lot of time. My internet is pretty slow, it seems, today, but let's live through it. Done. Perfect. Now let's replace the div with a card. Let's import it, and the card is here. We are going to have a flex of columns. So let's have a class name flex flex call. And now we can have a card header which is going to have the image. So card header, and we can have an image. So if you want, you can use the Next.js image thing, but you need to have the sizes correct, but I'm not going to do all of that. So yeah, so again, if you want to do open source contribution, that's the best way. Image class name, it's going to be rounded LG, actually rounded full, it should be rounded full. I have it wrong in the code, I need to change it. I'm making open source contribution as we speak. Yeah. And no, actually, you know what, I was wrong, it should be LG, because this is, we will see. Okay, because this is the cover photo, I thought this is the profile photo. And we need the src, and the src should post. Before that, we need to get the post. So how do we get the post? We need to have props here. So we get the post, and we need to, this is going to have the type. So the post is going to be of the type of post metadata, which we just created before. You can simply have look at the types file, and now we can have post dot cover image, not content, cover image dot url, and we can have alt as post dot title. Perfect. And now we can have the card content, and here we can have something. So first of all, we are going to have the card title. So h2, class name text excel, font bold, post title, but we also need to make this a link so that we can redirect. So let's create a link. We need to import it, link href/post. We don't need to have this post, we can simply redirect to the slug. And we need to have a class name. So whenever this is hovered, we need to make it underlined. So when this is hovered, this should be underlined. Perfect. The next thing we need is the PFP. So let's have div class name, please work VS Code. Yeah, mt5, actually mt3, flex gap 3 item center, so that everything is aligned properly. And now we are going to have the image. So first of all, we are going to check if they have a profile picture or not. If they don't, we cannot render anything. So let's say post dot author dot profile image, profile picture, and if the profile picture exists, we want to render the image. So we are just going to do img src, and it's going to be post dot author dot profile picture. And yeah, I think everything is fine. Just this should be at 7w7 according to the code which I had written previously. Perfect. And if there is nothing, we can simply have the author name. So let's have the author name right here, post.author.name. Perfect. So if there is no profile picture, there won't be any shown, but if there is a profile picture, it will be shown with the author name. Perfect. Now we need to have the subtitle or the text. So if the post has a subtitle, we will have that subtitle, but if not, we will have the text. So the text should be, first of all, text gray 500, line clamp 4, so that we limit, hold on, we are using line clamp so that we are fetching the entire post content in a text format. We don't want to show the entire post, we only want to show the first 4 lines and make the component pretty. Like we should have the dot 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 at the end, and we should not exceed more than 4 lines. That's why I have used line clamp 4 here. So we can have post dot subtitle. If there is no subtitle, we are going to prioritize the content. So post dot content dot text. There are 2 more things. So you can have HTML or Markdown, but since this is just a subtitle, we are just going to have the text one. Yeah, perfect. Now I think, all right. It cannot read the URL. That's interesting. Why can't you read the URL? Oh, because we didn't pass it? I think we did. Hold on. I think something must be wrong here. I think we need to pass post.node. Oh yeah, perfect. It should be post.node.id. You know what, there is no id, so I think post dot, we will just use cursor as the key. I mean, that works for me. So let's just refresh this. I hope this works. Perfect, we have it. And now we can use load more to load the rest of it. But the problem here is that if we reload this, it's loading every single time on the client side. So now we need to do the prefetching thing. So it's going to be pretty easy. We are just going to have all of those things we have here. So I'm just going to copy this. We need to go back to the page.tsx file. So let's do that. And now what we need to do is we need to create a new query client, because remember, this is the client, this is the server side code. You don't have the access to all the client things here. So we're just going to do const query client is equal to new query client. Yeah, thank you VS Code for giving me the session right now. And now we need to do await. This should be an async function though. Async await query client dot prefetch infinite query, and need to pass in all of these things here. But the problem is that we are getting an error, and we need to have some types here. So I don't know why it's the case. It might be an error, it might be something I have done dumb, but you need to have a type here. So the node should be post metadata, and the cursor should be you know what, this should be a semicolon. Cursor should be a string, and all of this is an array. So this is an array of object, and I think this should work. I am not sure what's happening here, but let's, we need to, I think, import the get posts. All right. I think it should work. We have the last page. Expected one argument will pass to. Let's see. Yeah, I'm kind of dumb. You see these double brackets? Let's just remove these brackets. We don't need these. Yeah, now it should work. Yeah, now even if we do this and if we go back, something failed. Okay, if we reload, there is still this problem. And how to fix this? This is because we need to have an hydration boundary so that everything works fine. And you don't face any hydration errors, and the data is properly passed to the client component. So let's do that. So we are going to do hydration boundary, which is again a part of React query. We are just going to have this, and we are going to have the posts here, but we also need to pass the state here, which is going to be the query client. We need to dehydrate the query client. So we are going to use the dehydrate function from React query, and we're just going to pass in the query client. You don't need to put a lot of effort in understanding what this is. This is basically the norm of passing prefetching some query. Like if you were prefetching use query, you would do prefetch query, and you would just pass in like this. And this is just the Next.js way, and they have it in their documentation, so you can always have a look. So yeah, now if you go ahead and reload, everything should be already loaded. There is no client side loading, and I love to see it. Perfect. Now all of this is done, and I think there is one more thing we should do at this page itself. Like it is an app wide feature, but I think we should do it right now, which is subscribing to newsletter. So for that, we need to create a function again in the request.ts file. For each email we get, we can subscribe that person to a newsletter. So I'm not going to use a lot of time this time, because you know how queries work, you know how variables work. So yeah, except this time we are going to use a mutation, which is going to be a GraphQL mutation, and we are going to name it subscribe to newsletter. We are going to pass in the publication ID and email, and they have a function called as subscribe to newsletter, and we can pass in the input, which is an object, and we pass in the email and publication ID. So we just import the type. So we are just going to do the await request. So if there is any error, React query will pick it up, and we will know. So like if the user is already registered, we know about it, and we can take action, and we can display an alert. So let's save this, and we can go back. Now Now there is no specific file we should put the dialog in, because it's an app file. We need to directly put it inside of I think it should be in layout. So yeah, we need to first create a new component. So let's create a new component. We are going to call it a newsletter card .tsx. We are going to do rfc. We are going to use hooks in this one, so we are going to use client instead. So this is going to be newsletter card. And we are going to actually render it out in layout in the end. Perfect. Not question mark. Now I think it's just going to show this text here, but we want a dialog box, not a text. So let's go back here, and to proceed we need another shadcn-ui component, which is going to be dialog. So let's install it. Not arc actually. We need a pnpx shadcn-ui add latest add dialog, which is actually a model basically. So let's wait for this to be completed. It should not take a lot of time. Install dialog. Let's wait. So what we want to do is, like, when you saw in the demo, there was like a 5-second gap before the page loaded, and you saw a newsletter card. So how do we do that? So first of all, we are going to have the dialog content itself. So I'm just going to have a state which tracks the email address. So we are going to do const email set email. You can use something like React hook form, but because this entire app has only like one input field, that's why I'm not going to use something overkill like that. We are just going to do the traditional way. And we also need to have a state to keep the track if the dialog is open or not. So we are going to do const open set open, and by default the dialog should be false. I mean, it should not be open. And now what we are going to do is we are going to have the dialog itself. So I'm going to copy it. It's just going to be a bunch of UI things. Let's paste this right here. I hope everything is recording. Yeah, I was scared for a second. I'm just going to import it from our project, so not from Radix. Input. We also need to install input. Nice call. So let's install input. So pnpx shadcn-ui add latest add input. It's an input box basically, so we need to add it. Let's wait. It should not take a lot of time. Yeah, perfect. Input, and we should import the button. And you see all this is pending and stuff, and mutate async. We are using the React query use mutation hook. So let's have it. I'm going to copy it. Let's not use a lot of time here. So the use mutation hook, let's just import it. So what use mutation hook does is, like, since this is a client component, we should take advantage of all the React query hooks. So what we are doing here is we are providing a mutation key, again like an array, and a mutation function. We need to import this function. We are just passing in the function, and on error, not actually that, we need to create these two functions. So let's actually create this. So function on error, let's remove the alert, we don't need it, and we need an on success. Perfect. So yeah, so what happens is that when we have the mutation function here, we can use this mutate async function here to pass in the email, and it will just perform that email. What you could do is simply have that function called here, like subscribe to newsletter called here, and it will do its thing. But why have we used this here? Why have we used React query? It's because that we get access to all of these things. If it's loading, we get access to that state. If there are any errors, we get access to that, and it's just a lot good developer experience, and it just saves you a lot of hard work. in my opinion. And yeah, and if you have any loading state dependency, just use React query and save yourself a lot of time. So yeah, this is what we are going to do. So for any error, we need to have an hold on, we don't need an error thing here, so because we already have an on error function. So what we gotta do here is first of all, whenever the user enters an email, we should never have the newsletter pop up again. So how do we do that? We are not going to maintain a database with all those emails. So what we are going to do is we're going to create a local storage entry, and if there is an entry already, we are not going to open that input box. So if the newsletter subscription was successful, we are going to create a local storage entry and we are going to read it every time the page is reloaded. So on success, what we want to do is we are going to do local storage, so dot set item, not subscribed, we are going to have the newsletter, and we are going to pass in the email here. Perfect. And now we need to have some sort of alert. We are also going to have set open is equal to false. Yeah, perfect. We are tracking the dialog states here. So if the state is true, this dialog will be open, and if we click the cross icon, if we click the cross icon or outside the dialog, this function will be triggered. So we can simply do set open as false. Perfect. Now we need to show some kind of alert, and traditional alerts from browsers suck. They look ugly, I know. So we need to have a better toast component. So let's install Sonar from shadcn. So pnpx shadcn UI at latest add Sonar. So unlike other components, there is some setup here. So let's wait for this to complete and we need to do some setup. So this will actually install a package called Sonar. Sonar is an open-unit toast library. A friend of mine suggested me that, and I'm glad he suggested me because this is just like cool. So first of all, we need to have a toaster. So in providers, we go and we have a toaster. Every third party provider or component should be here, which does not need rendering on the screen. So yeah. Now we can go to the newsletter card and we can simply call the toast function from Sonar. Hold on, did I paste in the wrong? Yeah, no, I think the toaster should not be from Sonar. It should be from our own thing. So yeah. So let's go back to newsletter card and we should do toast dot. Okay, I'm just going to copy it. I'm not going to type the text. So it should be toast dot success, and we can simply have this subscribe to newsletter, check your email to confirm your subscription, because again, Hashnode will send out confirmation emails to them. And for error messages, what we want to do is okay, so for every error there will be an parameter passed in. So what we need to have the client error here from GraphQL request, because ultimately the request is being made by the GraphQL side, so the error will be by them. So this is the thing. If there is no errors, like if there are no errors provided, we just something went wrong. If there are any errors provided, we just pick up the first error and we just toast it out. This is what we are going to do. I know it sounds a bit confusing, but just take it this way, that if no errors are provided to us, we just show our own error, but if there are errors provided to us, we show the errors that are provided to us. Perfect. Now if we go back, if we reload, you will notice that we see no pop-up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, no pop-up. Why? And that's because we actually need to set a timeout which triggers and shows the pop-up itself. You show the model itself. So we are going to have a function handle open, and what this will do is it will set open true, and then we are going to have a use effect. We need to import use effect, and this is going to have a function, and this should only run once so that we don't have multiple models popping up. And we are going to have set timeout, and set timeout will have a callback which will have the handle open function, and this should run after 5000 milliseconds of mounting. Perfect. But there's still one problem. This will show every time 5 seconds are done. We had made all these local storage things and stuff. What we have to do here is we need to make sure we read the local storage and see if if we need to show the model or not. So we're going to do if local storage dot get item. If there is any newsletter item in the local storage, we will not show the model. If we can simply return here, and this code will never be executed and we will never see the model. So let's save this. Let's go back, and you will instantly see that the colors are different. In our case it was green, so let's quickly fix that. I was intending to do in this before. So for that we should go to the shadcn-ui website. Let's click on themes. You can have any theme you want to. I'm just going to use green, so I'm just going to click on copy code and copy. You can even customize those themes if you want to. So let's go to globals.css, and we need to cut this code, all of this code. We don't need all of this except the last one, and let's just paste this. And now we can go back to our application, and now you see it's green. Now first of all I want to show you the error condition. So let's first verify it's opening up after 5 seconds. So 1 2 3 4 5. I was counting way too fast, so I want to test out the error conditions first. So my email is already registered, I know that. So atharva.devstale. So this email is already registered and I have done that before. So if I keep loading, it says email already subscribed. Don't worry about this error. We meant to throw an error because if there was no error thrown, React query would not be able to detect it. So yeah. And now what if we pass an email which is not already here? So if we just pass in this email and subscribe, it disappears and it says subscribe to newsletter. Check your email to confirm your subscription. And yeah, I think it's pretty cool. Everything is going pretty fun so far. And now let's work on the blog page itself. So if we click on this post, it will give us the 404 page, and we should now start working on the last section of our blog app. Okay, first of all, let's create a function that gives us the entire post through a slug. So what exactly is a slug? Slug is this thing right here. In the URL, this thing which we got from Hashnode, we can use this thing to get the specific post. So why are we not using the guest posts function? That's because we don't want every post. We only want this specific post which we are on the page right now. So again, we are going to do the same approach. We are going to use React query to prefetch, and then we are going to have the actual client component, and inside that we are going to do a lot of different stuff. So what we want to do is okay, hold on. So let's go ahead and create a new function here, and I'm going to again paste the function because it's the same thing which we have done before already basically. So I'm just going to copy it, and let's go down here and paste it. So what we are doing here is get post by slug, and we are getting the slug inside the function parameter. And the query is we are having the variables publication ID and slug, and for the publication ID we are passing the ID, and we are using the post function and we are passing in the slug. Now we have access to the specific post, and we are getting the title, subtitle, cover image, and within it we are getting the URL, we are getting the content, and in this we are getting HTML. You could get Markdown, but I think HTML provides the best results. Markdown, I don't think that it's very easy because there are some HTML tags snuck here and there between, so there might be some more configuration, but this is by far the easiest way. And in the author we need the name and profile picture. We are just passing in the variables, and we need to import this type, and that's it for the request file. We are not going to ever touch it again. Let's go here into our app, not node models actually, in our app folder, and we need to have the dynamic route. So for every post this slug might be different, so you need to create a dynamic route. So for that we are going to create a new folder. We are going to type slug in bracket, square bracket, that indicates that this is going to be a dynamic route. It's not going to be a file, it should be a folder. So slug, and we are going to create a new page.tsx file here, and now we can access our dynamic parameter by getting it through props. So we can simply do export RFC. Let's remove this, let's say block page, and now we can have it here. So we can do okay, let me copy the type. So we are getting the params, and the params will have a slug which is a string. So why is this slug? Because the folder is named slug inside brackets, that's why you can get slug. So if you have nested dynamic routes, you can also add those here, but we only have one, so we are using the slug one. Perfect. And now you can do prefetching and stuff, but before we do any of that, what I want to do is I want to set the metadata for this, like okay, for this page the title is Atharva Devastali, but I want it to be changed to the actual title of the blog post. So we are going to have the generate metadata function here as well. So I'm just going to copy it, I'm going to paste it, and since this is not a component, I mean it could be a component if I wanted it to be, but we don't need, I mean we need to only return these things. So we are not using React query here, we are simply calling the function get post by slug, and we are passing the title, and we are just setting the title here. So if we save this, if we go back and reload, we should have the title here. So let's wait. Yeah, perfect, we have create forms and React stuff. Yeah, now we can work on the page itself. So the page will have the max will have the width thing. So I'm just going to copy the class name and paste it here, and now we can have the hydration boundary. But first of all, we need to fetch the post. So let's do that right now. We need to create a new query client. So const query client is equal to new query client. Perfect. And now we need to do await query client dot prefetch query. See that there is a okay. First of all, we need to make it an async function. Remember last time we used prefetch infinite query, and this time we are using only prefetch query because we are not using any infinite scrolling. We are just making a normal query, and that's why here we need the query key. Basically this. So the query key should be post, and we are passing in two query keys here. Why? I mean, why would you do that? The reason is that React query documentation says that if you have anything unique related to your request, pass it inside the query key. So our slug is unique. For every single post, the slug is the differentiator. So what happens is that if you don't pass this, it will cache the response of this, and it will keep showing the same post for every single slug, and we don't want that. We want every single slug to have different cache things, and we should not have the same post displayed on every single of our posts. That's the aim here. So here we are just going to have a function, and we are going to pass in the parameters. That's why we created a function like this. So because we are passing in the slug. Now we can have a hydration boundary, but first of all, let's create a new component here. We are going to call it post.tsx. We are going to do RFC. Let's remove this. Let's have use client. Let's have post. Now let's go back here, and now we are going to have a hydration boundary. Hydration boundary state. And now we need to have the post component. So post. Okay, I need the post component, not anything else. So what's wrong here? Yeah, post, and we need to pass in the slug because of course it won't have the access to the slug normally. So we will need to create type for this. We need to accept the props. So let's just save for this right now. It will show an error, but we are going to fix it. So everything is done here. We don't need to do anything else. Now we are already prefetching the query. So we just need to we can simply plug and use query, and we do not need to see if it's fetching or not. So let's go to post.tsx and let's start working. So first of all, for the post, we are getting the slug. So we are accepting slug, and we are going to have slug string. Yeah, and now what we are going to do is we already have 7xl, so we do not need to set it here. We need to use the use query hook, so let's do that. Const data is equal to use query, and basically, like, oh, you know what, GitHub Copilot, I did the mistake of trusting GitHub Copilot again. But yeah, let's import this function. Perfect. And again, now there is one more thing. What if user puts in an invalid slug? Then we should show a 404 page, because that article would not be existing. So if we get an empty data, or if we get undefined data back, then we are just going to return not found, which is from next navigation. So if we invoke this function, the user will be automatically forwarded to the 404 page like we were in the past. Now we can work with this thing. So I'm just going to copy the code for this right now. We're in the very last parts of the tutorial, so let's paste this. So first of all, we are going to have the cover image. The width should be full and the height will be auto. And then we are going to have the title in text 4XL for mobile and text 6XL for bigger devices. And then we are going to have the subtitle. If there is no subtitle, it will be left empty. We are going to have a profile picture if there is any profile picture, and we are going to have the author's name. And what we are going to do here, it's very interesting, is that we are going to have a div. We are going to have these stylings: block content, text XL, leading loose, so that we have distances between the text lines. We are going to have flex call, gap 5, so that every paragraph will have a little gap. It's a little hack, I know it's not the way you are supposed to do it, but for the sake of tutorial, let's do it. And empty 5, just to give some spacing between the author's name and the block content. Now the interesting thing about this is that we use dangerously set inner HTML. I know this is not the way to do it, but I think this is the most reliable way. If we do some other way, it will go out of the scope of tutorial and it's just going to be a lot chaotic. So I'm just using this, and I don't think there is a lot of disadvantage using this in the simple blog application. So I just used it. If you want, you could use Markdown and you could deal with all of those things, but I'm just going to use it like this. Dangerously set in HTML. We are just going to pass in data.content.html. Because if we go back to request.ts, I said that I would be saying bye to this page, but we are back here. But if we see back here, we have the content. We are asked for the HTML, so we are passing in the HTML here. Perfect. Now if we save this, we will go back and we see that this is very ugly, very ugly. We need to fix this ASAP. So far the best way I found to fix this is by adding custom styles in the CSS file. So I'm just going to copy these styles. You can change it according to yourself, but I'm going to explain these. But I'm just going to copy all of these, and I'm just going to paste this. So we are going to leave a comment, article styles, and for each code tag we are going to have these styles. We are going to have background for every which are bigger code blocks. We are going to have these styles. Basically I had GitHub Copilot write all of these for me. Then for block content, right? So if we go back to our post.tsx file, we have a block content class name here, which is a custom class name. So for every block content, for every h1 inside block content, we have text 4XL, and so for every single heading, then for every link we have an underline. For every lists we have proper disk or proper numbers, and this is for the callouts. So Hashnode has some sorts of callouts. I'll show you what callouts are, but I'm just targeting the callout and giving it proper styles for different color modes. So if we save this, if we go back, there should be some changes, I think so. Yeah, now this thing right here is a callout. This thing right here is a callout. This thing is a pre-tag. This thing is a code tag. You can simply target things and style it as you wish. And that's why I wish to use the HTML route, as it's pretty easier to do it, and the markdown is a little difficult to deal with. You can do it. It's not impossible by any means, but yeah, there is one little piece which is left, which is creating the footer. So we're just going to have the footer.tsx file. It's going to be pretty simple file. We are just going to have the server function there. So let's go ahead inside the components folder. I'm going to call it footer.tsx. I'm just going to paste it here. We are simply getting the title again. We are just going to have a simple, very, very simple footer. I'm just going to save it. I don't think it needs any explanation. Because that's a server component, we might need to reload, and I think, we need to place it. So we will go to layout.tsx, and even below this we are going to have the footer. Let's save this. Perfect. We now have this footer, and now we can now let's recall everything what we have done. We have this thing. We have the blog posts. We click the load more button. We have more blog posts. We saw the dialog thing, but if we go to our inspector and we go to the application tab, and if we remove the newsletter, we will get the pop-up again. But while we are at it, you can see the responsiveness, right? So if we are in mobile view, right, like this, you can see it's pretty responsive, and I have made it to be responsive by the style. So I might have copied a lot of code, but I have everything inside there, so you can inspect every single bit of it, and I recommend you do that, because what's the point of a tutorial if you don't understand by yourself what's going on in there? I think the best way to learn is for you to go deep inside the code yourself, with some guidance, of course, and which I'm providing you, and try to figure out stuff and try to make sense out of everything. Like, how overall things work. Just go inside the code and see the JSX and see how the styling is done. Get some inspiration from it and try to do it for your own applications. So that's why I don't explain everything. I think some part of learning also belongs on your side. So yeah. Okay, anyways, so let's reload this page. We should have the newsletter pop up. Let's switch to light mode. I want to see how this looks in light mode. Sorry for hurting your eyes, but yeah, I think it looks pretty cool. Let's go back to system. We have the footer here as well. Load more works. If we go to some other article of mine, like this one has subtitles, so if we go to subtitle one, we will see the subtitle like this, and we have everything here. My images are also here. Perfect. This is basically a Web3 article which I wrote a long time back. So yeah, that's it for this video. Damn, I think this is the longest video of my YouTube channel. I might be wrong. I might edit it down, but yeah, whatever. I'm too tired for this right now. So I'm going to keep it short. If you like this video, if you found value in this video, make sure you like this video and subscribe to this channel. And I think you should also share this video with your friends, so that your friends also enjoy the same knowledge as you are enjoying right now. And they also should create their own blog website. And I think you should start the habit of writing blogs. It's pretty cool. I had got my first few gigs through writing, so I think it's pretty cool. And if you have any suggestions, if you have any build suggestion, any long builds, what you would like me to make, any kind of app, make sure you leave that in the comments below, and I'll make sure I will provide you value by creating those apps. And yeah, if you are stuck in this code, I have the GitHub repository in the description. If you want to contribute to it, feel free to open pull request and stuff, bump up your open source contributions, and everything related, like every tool, every package we used, every link will be in the description, so you can easily go to the documentation and explore different stuff about it. And yeah, I really recommend you do that, because that's how learning works. So yeah, that's it for this video, guys. I really hope you enjoyed it and learned something new, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.